So this video is about how to get beyond the material things and really delve into how you can create and then maintain a daily yoga practice. Nailed it! Yes! Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for this video on how to do yoga at home. So naturally, when we do yoga at home, we need all sorts of equipment, and I can give you a list of the tools and show you products and things that you can buy to make your practice at home much easier. But you can find all those things at home. So you can use some books instead of blocks, or you can use a tie, a belt, a scarf instead of a strap. I can list those things in the description for you if you like. In fact, I will. I'll list a few things in the description. If you're anything like me, you go out and buy the shiny new things, and then 2 days later, it's not so shiny anymore. And then the practice stops and you're not so nice to yourself. So this video is about how to get beyond the material things and really delve into how you can how you can create and then maintain a daily yoga practice. Okay, so you stuck around. Good to see. So ultimately, to make a yoga practice work at home requires a mindset shift, a commitment to create a habit, an attitude that supports your growth. The fact that you're watching this video suggests that you've planted the seed and you've begun the shift in mindset already, which leads us to number 1, commitment to your own personal development. You need to make promises to yourself. One thing that I did, I asked myself, how many times do I make promises to other people and keep them? And then I asked myself an honest truth, how many times do I break my promises to myself? Why is it that we can keep promises to other people, yet it's okay to break them with ourselves? For me, keeping my promises to myself was a massive change in realizing my own self-integrity. We forget that we can reframe our answers to the requests of other people. So instead of saying no, because sometimes that's a really hard thing to do, you can still say yes, but just say, yes, I just need 30 to 40 minutes to myself. Or, yeah, sure, I can do that. Can we do it tomorrow? Once I found it in myself to be able to say, no, wait a minute, I've promised something to myself, I need to say no to the other thing, I was able to let go of the guilt of saying no. Once you start keeping these promises to yourself, they become your non-negotiables. And what I mean by non-negotiables is exactly that, non-negotiable. It's a commitment you've made to yourself, it's a commitment you've made to your own personal development, and no one should get in the way of that. So number 1 is commitment to your own self-development. Making those promises to yourself to forge your self-integrity and building those non-negotiables. We've done that bit. Tick! Tick! Number 2, create the habit. Utilize effective habit stacking. If you haven't already read the book, I highly encourage you to read Atomic Habits by James Clear. There's a little bit of self-insight here. When I returned to yoga, I wanted to build on my practice from being just once a week or twice a week. To do that, I stacked the habit of yoga onto my already in place habit of the gym. Taking leverage from my gym practice, I would tack on a 15 to 30 minute yoga session at the end of my gym session, depending on how much time I had during the day. So the idea of habit stacking is you take the new habit and you associate it to a habit that's already in place. So for instance, in this case, I took my gym practice and I tacked my yoga practice to the end of it, and then it became a daily thing. In addition to the effective habit stacking, putting systems in place is another great way to get you to the mat. So things like making sure that you've got enough gym clothes to get you through the week, or making sure that your clothes are stacked beside the bed so that when you wake up in the morning, you just pull on your drawers and then you roll out the mat. So using effective habit stacking and putting systems in place mean that 6 years on, I get up in the morning, I now miss the gym, but I still roll out my yoga mat. Something went awry there, but I'm still doing yoga. Tick! Number 3 is remember why you want to practice. In remembering why you want to practice, you'll be able to create a visual to get you motivated in the moments where it's really tough. So the brain's a little bit of a trickster. It likes to try and remember the bad things and not so much the good things, because the bad things are usually the things that stop us from being safe. The good news is that we can retrain it. So what you can do is remember and record the times in your practice that make you feel amazing. Write it down. There is something between connecting pen and paper that makes the mind remember things. So when you finish a practice, remember how being in Wild Thing makes you feel super open and alive. For me, Wild Thing was a go-to. I just loved being, open and have my heart shine to the sky. Funny story, I did actually have a big wall around my heart, so it made sense that that's where I wanted to be. So it could be how alive you feel in Wild Thing. It could be how empowered you feel in Warrior 2. It could be how blissed out you get when you're in Shavasana. Who doesn't, right? By recording the good memories from your practice, you can create a visual for that 5 a.m. wake-up call when you're laying in your comfy bed and your survival brain says, no, you don't want to get out. It's nice and it's warm here. You've got that visual then to say, no, these things make me feel great. So I can come back to this bed later on, but right now I'm getting up and I'm going to be on my mat. So number 3 is remember why you want to practice. You want to remember and record the moments that make you feel amazing and use that as a visual for when you're in a tough moment. Yes! Oh my God. Number 4 is create and cultivate the attitude. Number 4 kind of ties in with number 1, our commitment to our personal development. In order to build on our commitment for our own personal development and creating a habit, consistency is key. I've found the best way to be consistent is to not do things based on the way that I feel, because the way we feel is not a great indicator on how and why we should be doing things. To create the consistency, we have to start doing, and in doing we build the momentum, and when we build the momentum, we create confidence. So that's number 4, create and cultivate the attitude with consistent effort by doing to create the momentum and build our confidence. Tick! Last but definitely not the least, number 5, be patient and kind with yourself. Yoga is about union and about coming to meet yourself and create space to allow yourself to be where you are in any given moment. Like anything, it takes time, so we need to be patient. We live in a world where instant gratification is very, very predominant in our lives. We want a little bit of a hit of dopamine, we pick up our phone and we start scrolling through social media. We want that spatula from Robin's Kitchen. We jump online and we order it and it's here the next day. When it comes to our own personal development and building habits and creating an attitude that supports all of these movements, we need to remember that it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, and in the process, we need to be kind to ourselves as well. So yes, I've said consistency is key, but it also means that if we miss a day, then we don't beat ourselves up about it. We're kind to ourselves in the way that we speak to ourselves. Our internal talk makes all the difference. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a 2-year-old who was wounded. That's probably the best piece of advice I've ever received. We have a tendency to internalize when we don't do something the way that we want it to be done, and it can be destructive. Part of this will be developed as you do yoga more. Part of it can be started now. We just have to recognize when we're not saying nice things to ourselves. For instance, you drop your phone. What do you start saying to yourself? Oh God, B, you're so dumb. Why were you so stupid? Why didn't you hold on to it? Perfect example. Say kind things to yourself. Oops, accidentally dropped that. Picked it up. Nothing's broken. Having a win. Let's move on for the day. So number 5 is be patient and be kind with yourself. Know that it takes time and speak to yourself the way you would speak to a 2-year-old who is wounded. We are on the home stretch. So let's recap. Number 1, commitment to your own personal development. Keeping those promises to yourself to create self-integrity and build on those non-negotiables. 2 is create the habit, utilize effective habit stacking and put those systems in place. 3 is, what is 3? Remember why you want to practice in the first place. Remember and record the beautiful moments during your practice, and then put them into a visualization to help support you at 5 a.m. when you're battling with your brain and the comfort of the warm bed and the freezing cold outside. Number 4 is create and cultivate the attitude. Consistency is key. Start doing so that you can create the momentum and build your confidence. Number 5 is patience and kindness for yourself. Remember that it takes time, and be kind in the way you speak to yourself. Once you commit to yourself, you'll start to realize that you get to spend 30 to 40 minutes, maybe even up to an hour with yourself. Side note, that can be scary, yes, I know, but over time it does become beautiful and it becomes something that you look forward to. You might even notice that it doesn't feel right when you get to the end of the day and you haven't done a practice. Or it might be that you find you're less effective at responding to challenging moments throughout the day or showing up for the people in your life. I hope this was helpful, and I'm so grateful for your time. If you found at least one takeaway from this, please like the video. Let me know in the comments what you did take away from it and what you're going to implement. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. And until next time, in your space, at your own pace. Namaste.